Welcome to the show, homies. It's turkey time. Now, Monday, I dropped the How to Beg for Money at the Thanksgiving Table episode, complete with tips and suggestions for other episodes that you could binge while you're traveling to help you get all the knowledge you need to ask mom and dad for money. Today, I'm going to give you an expanded road trip playlist of bingeable episodes. When you've got those long commutes coming either to or from Thanksgiving, or maybe you've just got a whole bunch of time off this weekend and you want to carve out a little piece of that to dedicating yourself to increasing your education on the home buying process. This episode is a cheat code to clarity, so save this episode to build your personal education collection. Play the music.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
What is up, my How to Buy a Homies? I'm your host, David Sidoni, revealing the secrets to all hopeful first-time homebuyers since 2019. And homies, in the spirit of the Thanksgiving season here, I do want you to know how thankful I am for all of you. Almost 7 years ago, I decided that I wanted to make a difference with all the knowledge that I had gained in the real estate game. And it's been an honor to coach and assist and help tens of thousands of you to achieve what has been incorrectly dubbed almost, if not totally impossible in this market, buying your first home. Well, if you listen here and you've heard all the interviews, you know that it absolutely is possible. Unfortunately, just the pathway to get there is not very widely shared. And all of the secrets, they're here for you in the podcast library. So thank you so much for listening and keeping me going, keeping me continuing to do this. People are reaching out and saying, hey, this is helping. So I keep putting them out there. Thanks for subscribing and following. And a huge thank you to any of you out there who have written a review on Apple or Spotify. Those silly little reviews where you write the words right there, they help the algorithm. And that keeps us at the top of the searches so that more homies desperately seeking this information find the clarity and the honesty that they're looking for so that they can move forward and know that they're actually making some progress. This year, it's statistically been one of the worst times for first-time home buyers, yet with the insights and practical action steps that we're dropping here, we have seen incredible success despite the public's fear and anxiety. Renters are freaking out there, but our homeowner stories, they keep coming and coming, and you can find them all in the episode guide in the show notes. And then you can hear what's really happening when buyers get the correct information, even in today's housing market. These are real interviews with real people who found something to help break through the noise and all of the myths and all of the fear, and they ended up actually doing it for real in real life. There's one mission here: clarity. Clarity on the process, and clarity on your best strategies, and clarity on how you can make this happen for you, even when everyone else says it's impossible. So today's episode is for your traveling. It's a cheat sheet. All 421 episodes that we've done so far, we're going to break them down and give them to you so that while you're traveling, you can cherry pick the episodes on the things that you have questions about to help you set up your planning and your action steps for this fall and this winter. And if you're brand new to the podcast and you haven't gone through the 10 steps, the basic ultimate guide, the steps that every first-time homebuyer needs to know. Some of them are calling it Homebuyer 101. It starts at episode 400. Scroll through your podcast feed. It says start here right there. It's the #1 trusted first-time homebuyer step-by-step program in the U.S. And there are over 100 interviews that you'll find in the episode guide from real buyers who started with these steps. After you go through the 10 steps, I always recommend that you check out episode 388 and 389. These are the playbook. This is where you work and you create your own personal rent replacement strategy and a custom last lease ever program. Why? Because you're here and you want real tips, action steps that you can take, and that'll help you. And it'll improve your position as a buyer while at the same time also helping you save your money and get ready while you're still renting. There's another episode 365 that's really helpful to kind of figure out where are you in the process. It's perfect for figuring out exactly where you stand right now so you can also know what to focus on next. And then if you want to get your How to Buy a Home PhD, you want to get a master's in first-time home buying, The best approach is a mix of what we've got here. Stay up to date. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and listen to the latest episodes as they drop, because that's how you're going to make sure you're keeping up with all the market shifts and the changes and the new opportunities that are coming. And then in between the new episodes, check out the episode guide, dig through about the last year's worth of shows, and pick the titles that you want to learn about. And hey, if you're nerding out and you want to go super deep, you can go all the way back to the beginning. It's all there waiting for you. But I do recommend that you start with the new stuff and then explore some of the old. But the main thing is you don't need to listen to 400 episodes before you start taking action steps and start getting the planning. That's the difference of what we do here. We want to make sure that you get enough education, but that you take action along the way while you're getting educated. You can use the episode guide that we're going to put in the show notes. It's got the full list, categories, titles, and breakdowns. And if real estate in general is just like a crazy new world for you, I do have a whole breakdown of A to Z definitions. Starts at episode 94. Sometimes a lot of people like to go through that just so they can understand all the lingo and the language that people are using. It's all there, but I do it in layman's terms, so it's a little easier for everybody to understand. And if you missed it, just last week, I dropped episode 418. That was the 2026 housing market predictions and what 2025 has taught first-time homebuyers. I know a lot of you out there are wondering what's going on with the affordability issue right now. That we can help you with too. That's episode 355. Am I ready? How much can I afford? Rent versus buy. And then if you're looking for the specific information, the episode guide's got everything for you. There's topics and categories on loans and lenders. There's dozens of episodes on that because I know you have questions about that entire process. Also, credit scores. There's like 10 different episodes on that. You'll find information on how much can you afford? Can you really do this? Down payment assistance and grants programs. Bidding war tips, home inspection red flags, how to calculate your closing costs, financial planning. I just redid this series for 2025. That starts at episode 415. There's episodes on the credit pull myths. What about buying a condo or a townhome versus buying a regular single-family home? Or buying a new build, a new construction home versus a traditional existing resale home? How about buying with student loans? Information about that. Buying with debt. Saving your money while you're trying to work on reducing your debt. We've also got episodes that have home buying checklists. And we have a bunch of episodes where I directly answer listener questions that buyers just like you sent into the podcast. We've got 401k for primary home purchase down payment information. We've got house hacking, internet sites, the best ones out there to help you when you're trying to buy a home, buying when you're out of state or in a completely new region. What's the deal with PMI? Tax benefits of home ownership, moving tips from a moving expert, 2 episodes with her. We've got Thanksgiving episodes. I just dropped that one. How to beg your parents for money to help you with your down payment. We've got tips on ADU properties, rental purchases before a primary purchase. How are things going with Airbnb? And of course, there's information on all the unicorn details, everything that happens here at How to Buy a Home and the unicorn difference and how it can work specifically for you. And there's even episodes from my producer, the things that he's learned about listening to me, albeit completely forcefully because, you know, we make him, it's his job. But he's got lessons he's learned over the years. And I got to tell you, it can be refreshing because he is totally not sucking up to me at all. He tells you straight up what he thinks. And homies, even though I work my ass off to bring you the real insider secrets and the highest amount of first-time homebuyer education that you're going to find on the planet, there's nothing like hearing from the real people who have done this themselves. I'm proud to let you know that right now we've got over 100 interviews. And they're all real renters who became homeowners. And you can learn, listen, and get tips from their journey, how it really happened. And there's interviews with all different kinds of buyers. You can hear some amazing stories about low down payments and minimal closing costs that happened for real. Most recently, I think I had someone that their total closing costs after their down payment assistance and seller credits was $120.95. Obviously, I can't guarantee that for everybody, but the point is you don't know if you don't check it out. There are stories of people buying $800,000 homes only having to put $30,000 or $40,000 down. And there are people who are buying $200,000, $300,000, and $400,000 homes putting $7,000 down, $5,000, and more than one story of people buying $300,000 and $400,000 homes with less than $5,000 total down payment and closing costs. There are interviews with people that bought $200,000 homes to buyers well over $1 million. There are stories from people who bought in rural areas and people who bought in high cost of living urban metro areas, people who got a mortgage pretty much the exact same price as their rent, people who paid a lot more than their rent, and some people whose mortgage was less than their rent. Stories from people moving out of state or someplace completely new they've never visited before. And they're all ages too. There's a couple with 19-year-olds. There's a whole bunch of interviews with people 25 and under. And then, of course, there's a big chunk of people like 25 to 35. And there are quite a few with people who are over 40 and some a lot of bit over 40. There's couples, there's single men, and there's lots of single females, which I love the fact that that's happening, that we're reaching that audience. We've got people who are total novices, no clue, and other people who have been over-researching for 3 or 4 years who are over-prepared. You know, shall we say they're maybe perhaps a little bit anal, or perhaps we'll just call them spreadsheet lovers. And there were quite a few people that proclaimed on the show that they were incredibly risk averse. But after they did the math and they got the right connections with the right people, they took the plunge and they shared their story of how they know they're not going to be house poor and how they're confident in their decision. There's stories from real people who during the process put offers on homes, got into a deal and pulled out of that deal and were protected. And they tell you the red flags that happened to them and the things that they found out on their own and the other things that their unicorn realtor told them, and they made sure not to buy homes. You can hear firsthand about people who compared new builds versus existing homes and why they went one way or the other and what to look out for. There's lots of stories with people timing their move with the end of their lease, when it's good to do that and when it's good to break the lease and snag a great deal. And there are people from all over. We've got blue collar people, white collar people, doctors, academics, doctorates. We've got creative people. I've helped quite a few artists, which has been a lot of fun. And we've helped some serious number nerds that after listening to the podcast went, hey, this is going to make sense. Even if they had giant student loans, I'm talking hundreds of thousands. There's stories of military people who used VA loans. There are stories of people who bought right out of college before they even had started their job. And there's plenty of people who were the first ever to buy in their family. One of the listeners who shared his story talked to us about how he was homeless in his teenage years. And then there's sweet Jessica from Portland, who she and her boyfriend lived in a van for 7 years, and then they moved into an apartment in Portland. And when they were out one night, they got mugged and beaten up. And that was the night they decided to buy a home. And she did the interview on the porch of that home. So yeah, there are tons of great lessons, but there's also some fun and interesting stories too. And it's a great way for you to get the entire process from top to bottom in bite-sized nuggets with real stories from real people. So there it is, gang. That's your binge list. This is a great time of year to do research. Get deep into it. Remember, you can't control the housing market. You can't control the stock market. You can't control inflation, tariffs, or the economy. But you can control how much information you intake. You can control how much knowledge you have. That's how you prepare to take advantage of whatever happens around us. So have a super bitchin' holiday weekend and go deep into the archives and grab some of that knowledge. We're sitting in the middle of a winter window of opportunity for buyers right now. October showed the best buyer's market in over a decade. So the more that you know, the better you can find out your best options and come out ahead. We're going to put that episode guide link in the show notes. Have a great holiday time. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyaHome.com to get started.